here that we haven't talked about, and it's actually part of our gear, but we really don't talk about it so much, is the paints on our guns, our custom camo paints. And I've seen different things here. I've done mine, and what I've done here, I want to show you guys first, is black is a negative, and I wanted to attach this other stock to the bottom here to show you the difference of how much black stands out, especially when it's up against a ghille suit. Now, all this is a two-tone color. I went with a light base tan with a darker gray over it. And the reason I did this, and it looks like our studio's falling down, you know, if you want to call that. But you can see how black sticks out against the negative here. And I've got my Piss on Jump sticker. So that's for you, Jump. But now, the reverse side of that is when it's painted. It's probably good to paint your rifle to match your ghille suit.
Yeah.
So when I put this right up against there, it kind of blends right on in. And if you look at Mosin's over here, his blends in really good. And now Oakey has a new stock. He hasn't had a chance to paint this, but if you look at the barrel up here, you'll see how this kind of starts blending in. And you don't have to actually cover it, but you can just, get it up in there and mingle it up like that, and they really just blend right on in.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go to a. I went with this was my one of my. I had two coats on here. The first coat was a more greenish and gray tan color, green and gray tan. I went with this one with the OD, and then I took a darker green. Then I mixed it over with tan, and I found that it works all right to break up the outline of the rifle, but with my new stock, I'm going to go with a tan all around, and then you just use natural vegetation. As tan, I found is 90% of the
it matches anything dead out there, grass. Even in people go, well, in the summertime it doesn't match because it's green.
Exactly.
And I disagree, because when you're down on the ground, what do you have? Most of us lay down in the leaves. Leaves are brown, they're tan in different colors. Twigs are not growing over. So you always got tan, and tan is probably one of your best colors. And if you're wondering what to use for a camo shirt or pants before you throw on your ghille, because that's important, I recommend a 3 or a 5 color desert.
And this a good example is this is Mosin and I ghille suit is a digital. It's the digital Marpat, or also known as Arid Marpat. It also has Desert Tiger Stripe, which this is the Marpat is the reinforced nylon, which is this is mesh.
But what I want to show here is if you look at the primary color on each of them, this one's tinted a little bit more green, but the primary color here is gray. It's more of a tan-based, tan-grayish base. Yeah. And if you don't have the money to go out and buy something like this, or you can't get out and get some desert camo, 3 or 5 color desert camo, I recommend even a khaki colored pant in a shirt, and then throw your ghille over that. That'll actually work just as well.
And another thing you can see here is that I put shadow lines into mine. And what shadow lines pretty much do is if you're anywhere near or around where something will cast a shadow, which is virtually all of woodland environments, you can see that doing this will break up your structure a lot more as well, which is another good thing. And that's why we choose desert, because it's a lot more easier to work with. It looks a lot more natural. Putting vegetation on it, which a lot of snipers don't bother taking the time to do.
It's usually a rule. It's not a rule, but it's well known as like 60-40 is your natural vegetation to your ghille suit like contrast. I would say 60% natural, 40% synthetic, which would be. I don't have anything in mind yet as of now, but Mosin here has hessian, and he also has moss here.
And that's some actual grass.
He has some grass in here. He has a lot of. It's natural based as jute is, but it looks a lot more like it came right off the field.
Right. What you want, I think the trick is to break up your image. You don't want to look like an actual person holding a rifle or whatnot. When you squat down, picture this. Picture what a bush looks like. You want to blend like that.
Right, and it's not all about trying to disappear though. It's more about ghille suits are supposed to make your the human outline basically blend in with everything else. It's not, a lot of people, the misconception with ghille suits is, I'm supposed to just go hide somewhere where no one can see me. Well, a ghille suit, no one can see me because that's like another bonus, but overall it's supposed to be like when I'm stalking someone that my outline isn't like as a human outline, because human outlines are one of the most noticeable outlines in anything in nature.
And that's a good point I want you to bring out that you mentioned is that the misconception of ghille suits is a lot of people put on a ghille suit and they say, oh, if I put on a ghille suit, I'm going to be able to hide.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
no. A ghille suit helps your concealment better, but it does not hide you.
Yeah.
So if you think that, because a lot of times I'll go out and I'll play the role of sniper and I won't even wear a ghille.
Yeah, it's not even necessary.
Because it's not necessary. If you can stay low to the ground, not move a lot, people are going to have a much harder time to find you. And one of the other things about hiding I wanted to point out is that there's a key to that is don't go into direct sunlight. Stay in the shadows if you can all the time.
And if it's like I remember the S5 game, Mosin and I were in a hide out in this pond area where the cattails were starting to peek up, and the sun was peeking through the clouds a little bit, but every now and then it would be shady. So every time, a good thing to learn to do is just duck your head down a little bit, or just like hunch over when the sun pops out. That way, you're not creating shadows as much as you would if you're just sitting there still looking for targets or anything.
Right. Now, one thing I want to keep moving here. One of the other most important things on this table that we've seen is goggles. Now, we have a couple different types. We have a pair of shot goggles. I highly do not recommend these. As much as people say, well, I can get my cheek up against the stock and whatnot. These are just very unsafe. I recommend some sort of full ceiling type goggles. Oakey's got some with foam wraparound. These are what?
These are arena flakjacks. They're very good goggles. I've never really had any fogging issues. They come with 2 lenses. They're really comfortable and they're really cheap. I know a while ago, a lot of people saw the ad that they were like, you can get some for like $15, 20 shipped, and they're still around that price. They're between 20 and 30.
Now, one thing I wanted to point out is that if you're going to go with a hard shell lens, which we highly recommend, get a anti-fog lens.
Yes, a thermal lens.
A thermal lens. Now, if you see the stuff that says, "Oh, it's anti-fog gel or something you can put on the lens on the inside," don't even go with it because it won't last very long and you're going to be disappointed. Now, the next type of goggles we have, Mosin has a mesh reinforced goggle.
Yep.
Now, tell us about these.
Well, essentially the common misconception is that because they have holes, you're going to get debris in your eye every time. I've used these at probably around 6 or 7 different events and operations, and never once have I had debris. I don't recommend them for an assault player, and I don't recommend them for anyone doing CQC, where a lot of BBs are going. But if you're a sniper, you're far back, these you should have no problem with. And if you wear glasses on top of that, you will have absolutely no problem.
And the beauty about these is that they don't fog either.
Exactly, and after a while, you don't even know you're wearing them.
And a lot of people have asked
You want me to do it with my
about.
rifle?
Well, let's tell a little